Hiszczęść Opunvkv Eli Rowland-Chang Jawjifkadon Hujanetta Jimahaya. My name is Eli Rowland-Chang. I'll be the one teaching you today and in general during the sentence building and Mvskoke structure lessons. I am a daughter of the Panther clan and my tribal town is Coweta. So we are on the path of longer sentences. We're trying to work on more and more connector options. That is currently what we're working on. So for part 2, remember, because this is part 2 of the full thing. So part 1 was not from this year. So if you've missed any of those, please visit our website at mvskoke.com, which I'll write here while I keep talking. Mvskokeopunvkv.com. And that's where you'll find part 1 under the resources, and I think it's sentence building and grammar is what it's called. And that's where you can find the previous lessons on YouTube, as well as the PDFs to the presentations, the handout grammar cheat sheets, and worksheets and answer sheets. So all that good stuff is up there. I do know for anybody who's been following along on part 2, I believe the future tense ones are, if they're not already up, they're in the middle of being put up on the website. So you'll have access to that. The drive, if you do have current access to the drive, I don't have the link with me right here, but if you go to a previous, honestly, I think any previous Zoom lesson, it has a link to the drive. You go to that, go to Teacher Eli, and then it's the one with future tense. I do know it's already in the Google Drive. So if you'd like the future tense cheat sheets, worksheet, and answer sheet, those for sure are on the drive already. So little update for you there. As always, if it's your first time joining the sentence building and structure lessons, no matter your level, you're always welcome. Because even if you don't feel like you're exactly at the level of whatever we're working on, you'll be able to grab things that will be very helpful. Even just knowing they exist helps, because you'll be able to catch them in conversation. Okay. With all that, let's go ahead and start. So today's connectors are because and however. Though I project we're probably only going to cover because today, and I think however is going to be on next Friday, just based off of content amount. So, okay, next one. So quick review. Last week we started with the connectors T and N, which are probably the most important connectors from Mvskoke language. Whether in chat or out loud, would someone tell me what is the difference between using T versus using N?
You use T when it's the same subject, and then the other noun are the same.
But G, so then what's N?
I think that's something. I think that's what I remember.
You're so close. It's the same concept, but different subject.
Okay.
Heck yeah. Nice. Okay. Let's see. Heck yeah. Okay. How about where do they go in the sentence? Where do you find T and N in the sentence?
On the final verb.
On
like
the
final verb of each clause or whatever. On verbs.
final verb of each clause, but so except which verb? So except, anybody remember? Except the last verb. Right, because the very last verb actually conjugates. So on of each sentence clause, until you reach the very end of your sentence, then you stop doing it, because now we have to actually conjugate it all the way. Nice. What's one of the ways that we translate the T or N connectors in English?
And
And is usually the most common way we translate it. And then remember, we did talk a little bit about how, depending on context, it might sound more good to an English ear to use the word while or after. But we will talk about specific forms on like very blatantly after or before something. So, and is generally how we tend to say it. Okay, just like last week, I want you to review and see if you remember how to use them. So I'm gonna give, let's go with, how about 3 minutes? Let's go 3 minutes. So at 6, as long as that stays the same, so 6:12. We'll do 6:12 is what I'll check in. And either share it via chat or be ready to say it out loud. I might call on you, we'll see. But yeah, these 4. So 1, 2, 3, and 4, please translate them into Mvskoke. If you don't know all your words, remember, at least try to see if you can keep track of whether a T, oh, not that, whoa, it's not the button I meant to push. Of whether a T or an N is used. So if you don't know all the words, at least try to see if you know where if it's a T or an N. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, so number 1. Yeah. How visible is this? Oh yeah, good, good. Okay. Number 1, I said, how are you? And the baby smiled. Okay. What's our statement for how are you?
Stongo.
Don't go. So we know that's we first. And then this is the actual verb, so it goes afterwards. So stongo, and then I said. So we're gonna say Jan. Because after the and, the new thing, the new person doing the thing is the baby. So stongo Jan. And then if we're trying to be really specific, you might even see it as Jan, right? To show that there's a sequence or order. And then baby, so we have different ways. We have baby or babuji, which is Creeklish, but we also have istuji. I'm going to use istuji since that's our pure word, istuji. Oh my gosh, I spelled that like crazy. Istuji. There we go. That's how you spell istuji. So istuji, and then smile. Smile is abilida. So be lunks or unks, abilunks, depends on if you want to put the omida at the end, the helping verb. But gee, we stood up and sang. Okay, so to stand up, I believe it was Kit already put it in the thing. It's asabakleda. Asabakleda. So asaba, and then we. So E, but G, and then because we're still the one doing it, the T. Asabakli, and then Yehey Giyunks. Yehey Giyunks. And then remember, some people, you can also write Yehey Giyunks without the Y, it's just an E with a line above it. But G. You drove to work and the dog barked. You drove to work and the dog barked. So we have to put where we're going first. So to work. What's the word for work? Adokera. Adokera is work. So adokera. And then drive. So when we use drive, you have to use the word car. So we have to include automin because it doesn't make any sense otherwise. And that's partially because of the root of the verb for driving. So adokera, automin. And then I believe I did this, but I might not have. We're trying to show the direction. So in this case, I'm going to write O. We'll see if it might answer if I got that specific or not. Can't really remember right now. And then the word for to drive is Sadofkera is one dialect. The other one is Sudokera. Another one is Sudokera. They are all correct. I use this one. So that's the one I'm going to be using. The do, and then it's you. So we use it, and then somebody else, right? So because it's not you that barked, the dog barked. So and then the word for bark is wokera. Wokera. It's a bark. It even feels or sounds like a bark. Wokera. Wokera. So wok goes. Or woki dowanks, right? Depending on whether you use the helping verb dos or omida. Does the verb work for driving cattle? Off the top of my head, I can't remember exactly what it is, but it is, I think, something either along those lines, or it can mean something in a different context, which is why we have to include the word car so that we know specifically it's a car driving and not something else. Because I think it also maybe comes from like to drive away, like drive something away from something. Can't remember. It's been a hot second. I only use this verb when I drive because I don't own farm animals. So I don't have another way to use it. And then last but not least, number 4, I wrote a letter. Okay, so our verbs are always last, and our who, unless it's third person, is usually on our verb. So a letter is the first thing we need. Anybody know the word we generally use for letter?
Onaga?
No.
In your longer? I'm guessing, I guess. What is it?
These are good guesses. Joga.
What
Yeah, basically paper. Right? Because joga can mean book, but it can also just mean paper, written thing, right? So paper. And then write is hokjejida. Hokjejida. So and then this one I know because and then. So we're showing order. We use the 8th grade. And then who's doing it? Me. So letter I. And then I'm the one that went to the post office next. So it's a T. So joga, and then went to the post office. Went is our verb, so it'll be last. So we put where. Where we're going? Post office. Now, knowing that letter is joga, anybody have a guess as to what a post office is? Whether it's in the chat or out loud.
Post office is the question?
Yeah. Any guess on how to say post office?
Yoga hoodie. Doa?
The hoodie. Exactly. Joga hoodie. Right? So the hoodie is it's not quite a house, but it's a place of something belonging. And then joga being paper, so it's literally the place for paper. The place for letters in this case. Right? So joga hoodie is where we're going. So I'm going to add an N on the end just to show that that's where we're going. And then went. So we're going to use ayida. Try to figure out what to put that there. Ayida. So who's doing it? Me. So the letter I, and then past tense. Iox. Matji. Matji. Okay, now let's make it pretty, and you can see the pretty ones. There's the pretty ones. And like I thought, I was pretty sure I got specific. And I did. So yeah, and that shows that you were going towards. I actually forgot to put automy in there, but that's fine. If you're talking about taking the letter, you could use sayada, yes. In that case, it would be, and then I brought it to the post office. I didn't get that specific, and I just said, and then I went to the post office. Heck, maybe I forgot to bring my letter with me. We don't know. I wasn't very specific. What G? Okay. So as a reminder, I'm kind of gonna just touch on this while we're in the connector series. That way, anybody who wasn't in it previously kind of just knows. So continuing to work on sentence connectors. Why are we focusing on this right now? Remember, so as I stated last week, longer sentences is actual a cultural feature of our spoken language. It's something that is common. It is generally what is used in casual conversation by speakers. So long sentences is a cultural feature we actually use and like in our language. And so it's important that as we learn, we at least become familiar with being able to understand it and recognize it. But the more you're able to talk, the more natural your language will sound if you can continue longer and longer sentences. And since we last did the most common of connectors, which is T and N, I was talking with Mvhayv about what next connectors should we do that are really common. And we both agreed because and but are the two different ones that are also pretty common. Those come up a lot. And I think we already know which ones will be the next ones as well. But yes, so because, so, therefore is very common in English and in Mvskoke. And however, but, or even though is also very common in both languages. So we're focusing on those ones. Okay, so just like last week, I have a interview example of specifically a section that covers what we want to hear. So hopefully it's able to load fast enough. Okay, start right there for simplicity's sake.
이야기를 보가지 뭐나 홍아리 진다 이스토람마
And someone let me know if you can hear it.
كيف يدير مدرس نمرة
Yes.
사호시 대선 아기세자고 다르고 해서 뭐 한국은 아기세대 아닥하기 도바 오후학기는 몽고도 하스기는도 마호겐 낙선도 호이리고 에마단 제도 맞고 건다 아무나이면 만나 나게스도 이런 오게리리 Estudy adakagi hagi no o chichigo makto. Ma nagin gesto koida ma ili hangit nagadi mogodai geju ero kwandi ili hango breach get to English going moinok moira is ma ili that yo soyen mo hada alit Edo, I mean, Edo get a hoagie, Dixo Botidam Tempe, Edo, I mean, Edo, a hoagie takwe to go to watch just to get home to damage. But Estoji was a Hanagonatma, Stenik Chido is Margaret. Mo on our home, it Mother Poo hits Kadidua. More already done. Marikosun maufat somat kihlitska. Marikos to so even a kihli where I listen. Oh, as monak more for me, I get that to Poyachikur. Kopidagi OGP idea. Don't wish a gun without ought to be destined. I get let the Poyachikur. Oh, and how you want ma Mikos up going ma. You know, home better the star we host in pon home be box to get hoses on what. Hunger digging, stock we hoken, make us up upon high as small hoggies. Mother, same high don't what. Margets gidaya, you know, home better, Okilum get a get to Quira, Ungat Okilum get home better, sten, hit them get on hoega, make us up sten higher. Mowekv hierarchy hitska. Tuossa kiisa is ma tihetki mona dalgosen hayo pona hoi biga. Samon mo maha hodoi. Onka ma mageda magets kidaya.
Okay. So in that section, we actually hear the two of them use because and however or but multiple times. So I'm gonna play that section one more time. And see if you can catch when they're using it. And then we'll look at the actual transcription.
Habilidad yosoyan.
Mui hada anit edo edo ket ahoge dekto botidam tempe ta edo edo ahoge takwe ligoro watchastige honti demats but esto je oza hanak no atma stenik chido is magit mo ona ho ido mas mada po hits kadiro
Mo buha oro oridan. Opunvkv.
Madi kosin maufat somat kihlitska
Mari gusto suelo libera aquí libera hidesin.
oas mo nak mo apomi agifekta po yachi kurunga hanyo esa Kopidagi oji piadi tungu sekon puida otu videsin agifekta po yachi kurvis Owen hay wat ma miko sap ko gi ma hombeda da sta ko hotsen na pon hombe bakstige hotse son wat hanga digen stokhui hokken miko sap ka pon hayas ma hogris mada same high don't wat magits gidaya hombeda okhilom gida get to kuiro ungat okhilom get hombeda sten hitam gedong hoyega miko sap ka sten hayra Mvhayv Eli Rowland-Chang
Tuossa kiisa is ma
Ako
tihetki muna dalgosin hajoa pona hoibiga. Samoin mui maha hodui.
Onka magits gidaya.
But gee, okay, so let's look at it. And then just for context for everybody, if they want to listen to that whole interview or whatnot, this is from the Mvskoke Seminole Creek documentation project. If you type that in, you'll actually be able to find that. This interview is the one with Juanita McGirt. This right here is Juanita McGirt, and the other person in the interview is Linda Wood. So if you ever want to find it on your own, that's where you can find it. Okay, and this is all of what was said, which is a lot. We did cover, I think it's a little bit, technically a little bit under 2 minutes. So a lot was said, especially since there's two people talking, but within it, we're looking at the examples of what we're trying to talk about today. So let's go ahead and just go to this one. This is the one where I actually highlight them for you. So they're a little bit easier to see. Okay, so we're looking for because and then like however, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And this one section, we have 9 uses of these two concepts. Because once again, in both English and Mvskoke, it's extremely common. So it's used all over the place. If you look around, you'll even see that there's a bunch of RTs and N connectors as well. Because once again, that's just super common and used all over the place. So for the examples, I'm going to read out at least the sentence clauses that they're from, if it's part of a very long sentence. We have Onga Madiguzen Maofachanowa Kislitja. And she uses Kislitska. I'm just not used to talking that way. And this was Linda. And then Juanita answers back with Madiguzdors. Or I missed a little, there's a me right here. Madiguzdors goes Musosli Banoa Kisli Wedas Dazen. G. Number 3. Back to Linda. That's a weird looking L. Let's try that again. Back to Linda. She says, start right here. Moes manak mowaga bumiogislegta boyachigo donga. So in just that one phrase, she uses two of them. Then we have our next phrase starting way over here. Hobi doggy, ojia beardy, dozigon, we dog do days in. And that uses our number 5. Number 6 starts. Oh, actually right here. Bun hombi bucks, gay ho jason, no what. That's that part that ends at a what. And then our 7th starts right here. Unga ohisomge, umbada, tinhisomge, ohoiga, migosaka, shinhaida, Mvhayv Eli. And then we have number 8. It starts here. Ma dihakiam wanagadagusin hewa wanahuibiga. And then it goes on. And our last one. Unga mamagira maketsidaya. Right? So we've got a whole bunch in one spot. So let's look at because as I said, that's the one we're going to start with. So there are many ways to state because in Mvskoke, and these are our, let's say, 3 main ways. These are going to be our 3 main ways we do it. We have my thing's in the way, there we go. Our sentence starter version, our attached to a verb version, and an after verb version. So they're all used, and they're all used very frequently. It'll kind of come down to just trying to practice all of them, and maybe practice one to start, and then the next one, and then the next one. So our first one to go over is the sentence starter. So we have momiga, mowiga, monga, onga. They're all the same thing, and they're all used at the starting. So if you're starting a sentence, you can use one of the options above to show so or therefore for the beginning of the next sentence. Hisligo noches. So hisligo noches. Mamonga. So I'm right here, shows monga. Mamonga. Mujaneta jaga anokidos. So I did not sleep well. And then we use a period. So mamonga, so my head hurts today. I did not sleep well, so my head hurts today. We can see this one is used by Linda in the interview, actually twice. She uses, in one example is onga mamangida magitsidaya. Right? We go backwards. She actually used it near the beginning of that section of the interview as well. So she uses that one a few times. Our second version is the attached as either iga or donga. Iga or donga. For this form, you attach iga, remembering that that e is only if there's nothing else to support that section. So for example, if there's a different vowel that would take over that spot, it does, right? So iga to the end of the verb that talks about the cause. So it's always on the cause. And then the rest of the sentence is the effect. What happened because of that. So and it is also added after the person marker. So person marker and then the iga. Hisligo no jiga. Right? See? A for the I. We dropped our E because we have a vowel. So iga. You'll also see people use aiga, which is like the full version, a long version. Aiga, aiga. Hisligo aiga, hisligo ne jiga, no jiga. Mujaneta jaga anokidos. So I did not sleep well, so my head hurts today. I did not sleep well, so my head hurts today. So this is the cause. Did not sleep well is attached to the cause. The result, my head hurts today, right? Well, just as we use dos, you can conjugate dos with iga, and when they combine, becomes donga. Hisligo noje donga. Mujaneta jaga anokidos. And then our type 3 is the afterverb with dondo or dondon. The same thing, but some leave off that final end, basically. So this one in particular, dondo, actually has a lot more uses it has a lot more feelings attached to it. It is not always because, but one way we can use it is the feeling of because of the fact that it often has a connotation of giving more information or more context. Where does do fit? Good. So do is an even shorter version of donga. So you take your donga, then you make it even shorter, and it just becomes do. So yes, some people use do. And you'll hear honestly both of these a lot, donga and do. But yes, so back over to here for dono. But yes, it has that feeling of giving more information, which is why it can be used in a because kind of way. So so I did not sleep well, so my head hurts today. So it's like, I did not sleep well. That's their added context. My head hurts today. It's like saying that almost. I definitely would recommend, because it has so many feelings and uses that are beyond just because, really listen to how speakers around you use it or how they're using it in interviews. It's used all over the place. It's just a really cool one. Yeah, even in, I don't think I did it today, but even in like say an introduction, I can use it inside my introduction in certain places and it sounds natural and normal. So it's a very versatile conjugation and I love it. And I think dondo is usually a good way to start using it is with because. Okay, now let's break down each one specifically. So we have our Momekv, Mowekv, Monkv, Momekv, Mowekv, Monkv, Onkv. Yeah. So each of these, all of them, stem from the full phrase of Momekv, meaning because it is that way or because it is so. That would be the full way of saying it. Now we don't translate it that way really. Usually we just say because or so. It feels more natural, but literally it comes from this full phrase, because it is that way or because it is so. Over time, we actually have a really interesting linguistic flip that happened where some verbs that had an M in the middle of them switched to a W. So an M switched to a W. So one of them was momida started being mowida. So you'll actually notice right now we're in the middle of where that switch happened. So much elder speakers, or if there are speakers that were around a lot older people, they might still use a lot of momida, but a lot of younger elder speakers will actually use mowida. So it happened somewhere around that time period where that switch happened. And they're both correct. They're both understood. I know as a learner that can be a little confusing or frustrating because you have to train your ear to hear both. But it does get easier and easier, I promise. A few other verbs off the top of my head that do this is istomida. Became istorida. And that means like to do is the best way to put that, to do. Another one is gomida, which can mean to think or to wish something. Goida. Those are the first three that pop in my head. Yeah, omijajin. Yeah. Owida, duh. Thank you. Omida, which is right? It's to be. We use it all the time. It's where dos comes from. Owida is the most common use now. But you'll still hear, instead of dois, you'll still hear some people, usually much elder, domis. So here's a few common four that had this switch happen. So momiga ended up becoming mowiga. Well, then monga is a contraction, like a shortening contraction between the two. So monga. And then an even shorter version, you just leave off the M and now it's Onga. So they all come from the same thing. They're just getting shorter, shorter and shorter. Okay, let's look at number 1 up here. We got Borzy Hagekunks. And then period, right? Because we're using this as a beginning phrase 1. So Borzy Hagekunks. Mowekv Eli Rowland-Chang. So cat cried, right? Past tense, unks. Hagekida is to cry. So the cat cried. So hombida, food. Hadam, more, right? Hadam doesn't always mean again. It can also mean more. So more, Mvhayv. I gave to him, or her, or it. So Borzy Hagekunks, Mowekv Hombida Hadam Mvhayv. Cat cried, so I gave him more food. Well, we've learned our T's and N's, and because a T and N is the end of a clause, you can actually use it in the middle of a sentence after a T and N connector. So Borzy Hagekin, there's our N connector, because cat does the crying, but I do the feeding, right? So N connector. Borzy Hagekin Monga Hombida Hadam Mvhayv. The cat cried, so I gave him more food. Because even though it's in the same sentence, N ended that clause, and now we're starting our clause with a new one. So Borzy Hagekin Monga Hombida Hadam Mvhayv. And as seen in number 3, during the interview, it can kind of be used as a filler word to bring in your next point. But don't overuse it. Don't think of it as like a constant filler word. If you look at the way she uses it, it's always like, so do you know any more about that? Or in this case, so can you say those words? So for context in that part of the interview, which I just realized I didn't really go over, they were talking about a cultural trait about what not to do when one's pregnant. And then she asked, do you know any more about that subject? And she's like, no, but if I think of any more, I'll share. And then that's when Linda made the joke, well, that's because we don't want to think about it. We had kids a long time ago. We don't want to think about that anymore. And that's when they were laughing. And so then she switched it over to saying grace over food and was talking about that and asking her if she knows any specific prayers that are often used. So she talks about that. She asks Miss Juanita McGirt, and Juanita says that at this point, her church really just uses English. So she doesn't hear that very much anymore. So then Linda goes, but can you say those words? Like, do you know them? And then if you continue watching that one, she does actually continue to give an example of a saying grace over a meal one. So for that context, in Monga it Onga, is that how we use switch case with Momekv? You can, yeah, that's why. Yes, Omijajin is another one. I'll actually at the end remind me to go over Omijajin. How you switch case with Momekv? Yeah, you could just put it there. So I just use Monkv because I like Monkv, but you could actually use Momekv right here. Hageken Momekv Mvhayv. So it doesn't change, if that helps.
I'm sorry. What I'm asking is like if your because statement is gonna, I guess it can't keep the same subject, can it?
No, it can.
It can, yeah. Because I do something else. So if you're keeping the same subject, do you need to use it like id onga?
Yeah.
And then if you're switching subjects, in monga sounds better.
Yeah. It still follows the same TN rules, if that's basically what you're getting at.
Right. Well, I just don't know if I've seen like in onga. I'm not sure, but
Okay, Onga. Yeah, you could. I will say I think Onga feels better as a true beginning sentence because it ends with or starts with a vowel. But you can use it in the middle. It's not stuck to being at the beginning. And then in that case, it would be next to an in onga or it onga, and that's fine. Hope I helped. I hope I answered that question.
I think so. I was going to say that the first thing that drew my attention toward this word was the phrase or the sound donga.
Yes, I
So hearing
love
the T in front of it as a
Yeah.
connector.
Yes, and that's actually where we get the other one most often. But then it ends up, it almost kind of connects when we do have that onga next to, especially a T connector. It basically becomes the other one anyway, which we're gonna see, I think now, or actually after we go over iga and then we go over donga. So going over iga, so this one's added on the end of the verb. It's actually a conjugation. So added on the end of a verb in order to show the cause, and then after that, it's the effect follows. So remember, this E is in parentheses, meaning that the E is dropped when another vowel is able to take its place. So since it comes after the person marker, it disappears for conjugations like I blank, so blank, because I is the piece we use in order to show that I am doing something. So I have a sneeze in me. I apologize if I sneeze. Okay. We have hisigon no jiga, right? And then the long version, like I said, is using the VY no jaiga, and then actually wouldn't end up dropping the E then. But hisigon no jiga or no jaiga. Mojanetta jaga anokidos. So our pattern, I wanted to start with just I blank, so blank. So remember, we have our verbs hombada, to eat, nisida, to buy, ayida, to go, and ohonayida, to read. Right? These are the ones that we used for our future tense as well. So the pattern, hombada, becomes hombega. Nisida becomes nisega. Ayida becomes ayega. Ohonayeda becomes ohonayega. So what's our pattern to say I so? I eat so, I buy so, I go so, I read so. Let's see, I'm gonna pick on, let's see, how about Rick Smith? You can either type in the chat or say it out loud. What's our pattern that we're seeing here that changes the meaning? Two, one. Okay. Now I'm gonna pick on Stephen.
Well, the only thing I can see for my point is that you change it to aga.
Exactly. Ega. Machi ega. So ega ends up becoming the I so. So hombega, I eat, blah, 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 so. Nisega, I buy, blah, 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 so. Iega, I go, blah, blah, so. And ohonaiega, I read, blah, 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 so. Perfect. So ega is our I pattern. So then let's look at all of our patterns, right? So all of our patterns. We have our hombeda, of course, and we have our ega. And like I said, the long version of the pattern is aiga. So ega or aiga. So the you eat. Hombichiga. We have our itch. So hombichiga. Hombichiga. I say, you say hombichiga.
Hombichika.
Bichika.
Gee. And remember, I put and other forms because there's so many ways that dialectally that we use the U form. So we have the itchy, itski, the G. The Itski. I think that's all of them now. I think I got them all. So we have like 4 different dialectal versions of this. We, in this class, I focus on ich because that's the one that a lot of the speakers here at our office use. So a lot of second language speakers also tend to use it since that's what we're influenced the most by. So once again, I say, you say, Mvhayv.
Mvhayv.
Gee. Okay, let's do this one. So we didn't get to that. Mvhayv.
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 Gee, and Mvhayv.
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 Gee. Okay. Now let's go down to number 3. So he, she, or it eats, so Mvhayv. I say, you say Mvhayv.
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 Gee. Number 4, we eat. So this one, this is the version where like some speakers will use this in order to really show it. I will say this is probably the most common one. So we'll do this one first, but out of the 2, I would focus on learning that one. So first one is Mvhayv.
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 And then Mvhayv.
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 Gee. So ready? We'll do 3 and then 4. So Mvhayv. Mvhayv.
Mvhayv.
Mvhayv. Mvhayv.
So hadam. Mvhayv.
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 Gee. So we eat. Y'all eat. I say, you say Mvhayv.
Mvhayv.
I didn't hear you say it, Stephen. Mvhayv.
Mvhayv.
There we go. And remember, just like the you form, the y'all form is the same way. So we use achi in this class, but there's also
Achi.
there's atski. I just realized I spelled this one weird. This is the one I meant to spell. Achki, atski, and achi.
I like how Ella says it. Achi.
Oh
Just
yes,
like-
that's right. There's also the atski and the itsi. Yes. See, there's so many dialectal versions of you and y'all in particular. Those ones have a lot. And then last but not least, we have number 6, Mvhayv. I say, you say Mvhayv.
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 And it's got the asterisk there because, as we always have to mention, if it's a verb that has a special form, then it'll use the special form instead. So remember, legida is to sit for one person, but say abogida is to sit for 3 or more. So in that case, it would look more like this form because we already know it's a bunch of people. So it'd be abogiga, not abogagiga, right? Just abogiga. So that's why the asterisk is here. It's just for us to remember, we have to pay attention if it's a verb that has a special form. Okay. So let's do a few examples real quick with our iga form, since that one's probably the hardest to do since it attaches. So, anda, duck like jumba, nisega, jumboji, nisitjiha. So, what's a duck like jumba?
Cake.
Cake. Okay. Nisega, what's nisida?
I think it means to cook. There's somebody's cooking.
To buy.
That's no flagida. But gee, nisida is to buy.
Ah,
To buy. And then our ega is because I. So because I. And then undot is like an emphasizer. I'm specifying me. Like I'm like, I. So it's not always needed, but in this case, they're requesting something. So they're trying to be like, hey, I did this. So what's jumboji? It can mean a lot of things.
Candy,
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Candy. And then once again, what's nisida?
to buy,
To buy. And then we have the itch. So who is it?
and, mm,
You.
you,
You. The itchy sound is you. And then iha is like a gentle request. So in this case, it'd be like could. Could. So altogether, this would be because I bought the cake, or I bought the cake, so could you buy the candy? That's what this would be. Maybe you're getting ready for a birthday party and you're like, hey, I don't want to buy all of it. Number 2, we have majoga ohonayiga sugen kisams. So what's joga?
book or paper,
Yes, so we're going with book for this one. And the reason is because of the next word. What's ma?
my,
Not my. Ya, ma. Ya, ma. It's that.
ah,
Whoa, that he got a little pushed together. Yeah, you're itchy. I'm not itchy. That's a good way to remember it. You're itchy. I'm not itchy. So that book, ohonayada. So ohonayiga. Ohonayada nagidowa. What's that verb? Ohonayada.
To read,
To read.
like you're talking over top of it, it sounds like.
Yeah. Now, this is just iga. So then, who's the person? Is it I, you, he or she, we?
He, she, it.
Yeah, he, she, it. And then, of course, iga. So because or so. Sugin. What's sugin?
A whole bunch.
It's a lot. Right? A lot, a whole bunch. And then gifunks. Githida has a lot of meanings. In this case, it's meaning learned. And part of that being the fact that with the unks, it's in the past tense. So learned. Learned. So in this case, it'd be he read that book, so he learned a lot. Maybe it was a textbook or something. And then last but not least, we have Mvskoke hombitjiga yuri afki homebitjas. So Binwa nagidowa.
turkey,
Turkey. That's a good one to know with November just around the corner. Turkey. What did we just say Sulgin was?
a lot,
A lot. A lot. Hombitjiga. So hombida nagidowa.
to eat,
To eat. And then who's itchy? I'm not itchy.
you,
You're itchy. So you. And then we have our iga. So because or so. Okay, what is hirodi afki?
Ice cream.
Ice cream. I love ice cream. Ice cream. Hirodi is ice and afki is it's a food with that texture. The best way to put it. It's a food with that texture. So hirodi afki. And then homebitjas. This is a special command form. That means it's a how do I put it? Like a giving advice. So negative advice. So you shouldn't. So you shouldn't. And then the verb is eat. Eat. So you shouldn't eat. That's what this is. It's like an advice, a negative advice command ending. So all together, we have I'm buying the cake, so could you buy the candy? He read the book, and therefore he learned a lot. And because you ate a lot of turkey, don't eat the ice cream. So those are our 3 sentences, which at least I think 1 and 3 are very relevant. 2 could be pretty relevant too, but I think those are good sentences. Okay, now let's look at donga. look at donga. So, basically, like I said, we're putting the iga on dos, right? The verb dos, which is our helping verb, right? So when it's used as a helping verb, it looks like hombe dos, nisagi dos, aye dos, ohonaichi dos, right? It's a very common way of communicating in a conversation, right? So we take our dos, let's add ga. Uh-oh, now it's donga. So hombeda, to eat, becomes hombe donga, I eat. So nisida becomes nisichi donga, right? Because you are itchy. Nisichi donga, you buy. So ayida, I donga. He or she or it goes, right? That short E is just a placeholder. So it's for the third person, he, she, it. I donga, he, she, it goes. So, and then ohonayida to read. Ohonai donga, we read blank. So here are 2 example sentences. Fatjalega dozia hoi donga. Heyoa hombahanes. Fatjalega dozi ahoy donga. Heyoa hombahanes. So noon, Tulsa, right? Because dozi is our word for Tulsa. Ahoy is for 2 people to go. So 2 people to go. And then this is the we form, right? The long E. Donga is our thing we're talking about, right? Because heyoa is now. And then we learned ahan in our future. So home is to eat. And then ahanes is I will, or I'm going to. So I'm going to eat. And that leaves us with, we're going to Tulsa at noon. So I'm going to eat now. Which once again, I think is a very relevant sentence. Number 2. Adokidonga. Agent whiskiko doanks. Adokidonga. Agent whiskiko doanks. Adokidonga. So we talked about it for a moment earlier. Adokida is to work. So work. And it's not a long E, right? If you listen up here, Fatjalega dosi ahoy donga versus this one, adokidonga, right? Real short, adokidonga. So it's the he or she form, and in this case I used he. So he, and then because, I'm just going to use the shorthand because Ejin huikigo. So huiskida, that's our main verb here. Huiskida. Huiskida means to call. Ego is our not, it's our negative. It's our negative, right? So not call. This is a verb that uses agin when we want to say to somebody who's not us. That's the easiest way to put it for now. We'll probably go over that at some point, how those work. So for now, just know that's the way that works to say who called you. And then doanks, finishing our sentence off. So he was working, so he didn't call you. He was working, so he didn't call you. And then just as Tad had mentioned, donga can be further shortened to donk. So this could be dozi ahoy donk or adoki donk. Bam. Okay, and then dondo and dondon. Dondo and dondon. Okay, so like I said, they have a lot more meanings than because, but this is one usage. They both stem from the word dos. So think of them as taking the helping verbs place, kind of like donga and do. So you have your main verb and then you add this one afterwards. So these are all sentences we've already done, but now we're using these forms instead. Number 1, bozi hageki dondo, hombrem, hadam, and manx. Anda, dak like jamba, ni se dondon, Jambuji, Nisitjiha. And number 3, Pachalega does the Ahoyidondo. Hey what? Bahamas. So just adds right afterwards because you're giving basically more information for the following information. I want to make the point real quick that all of these forms, yeah, this is the full sentence versions of them. But in English, we can also say like, oh, I gave the cat more food. And then after we already said that, we might be like, because he cried. It's like, oh, why is there still food? Oh, I gave him more food because he was crying. Like you can do that in English. You can do the same thing in Mvskoke. What would happen is you just have that piece still attached to the correct part, but you say it afterwards. So if we keep dondo, for example, then it would be hombidan, hadam, imeaks, period. Bozi, hake, dondo. It's like saying that exact same thing. So I gave him more food because he was crying, right? We can do that. So I always want to point that out. All of these forms can be done that way. We could do hombidan, hadam imeyanks. Buzi hagekiga. Buzi hagekido. Buzi hagekidonga. The one that sounds, you can definitely still use it with the Mowekv, Monga. It just goes in its correct place. So hadam or hombida hadam imeyanks. It just feels weird. It doesn't work quite as well. You'd end up putting it here, but that doesn't make sense because you're following it up with the information. So you basically have to use one of the sentence ender ones if you do this. Yeah. Because otherwise you have to put it here and say Momekv, but then that doesn't make sense because you didn't say what that Momekv is based on. You waited. So that'd be the only one you don't use it that way. Okay. Hope that was super confusing. It's already past time. So what I'm going to do is going to head and work through all of these with you and not give you the chance to work them out on your own. I'm just going to go ahead and go through them. And that way we hit them because we're almost there. And just like I thought, because was a whole lesson by itself. Okay, so we're focusing just on Momekv, Monga, and Onkv first. So my throat hurts. Anybody know what throat is? Yes, no, maybe so. Nokwa. And then we want to say my, so it becomes ja, nokwa. And then hurts, so noki dos. Right? Because we have our whole sentence. Janokwa noki dos. And so what am I not going to do? I'm not going to sing. So because of that, right? That's where this comes from. Because of that, so Monga is the one I'm going to use this time, but you can use any of them. Monga, I'm not going to sing. So to sing, right, is yahegida. So yaheg. Now we have to say going to. So ahan. And now I'm not, which is ago. And then we understand dos. Janokwa anokidos. Monga, yahega hanagodos. Right? And then I'm actually going to fix this because it kind of looks like a D and we don't have a D in our language. There we go. Dos. Okay, he ate a strawberry and didn't feel good. So, oh, I forgot to fix it on this slide. I promise it says doesn't on the other page. He doesn't like strawberries. He don't like strawberries. It's been a long day. Okay, so he ate a strawberry and didn't feel good, so he doesn't like strawberries. So, our first piece is ate a strawberry. The word for strawberry, nagidoa.
Gibala.
Gibala. So gibala. So he ate a strawberry. Gibalan. Eat. Home. He's still the one here, right? He's still the one not feeling good. So home bit. And then not feel good is you use the correct in with heath legal. So in heath legal. And then he became not feeling good because he ate the strawberry. So we're going to use hoggy, but most speakers, at least around in this direction, drop that final E. So there is an E here, but you'll notice I just use hawk. So in heath legal hawk dos. So we need our word. Let's use Momekv this time. Momekv, so because of that, he doesn't like strawberries. So gibala yajibodos. Okay, now we're using iga. So the first one we'll use iga, the second one we'll use donga. So we dance so our legs are sore or they hurt. So dance is nagiroa.
Obanida.
Banida. A lot of speakers, once again, in this direction, drop that first O. So we're just going to use banida. So ban, e, bani for we. So baniga. Baniga. And then our legs. So what's leg?
Jelly. Boli.
Ooh. Ili is leg. Ili. When we add our, we drop our E, we add our correct thing. Our is boo. So it's bully. Comes bully. And then are sore or hurt. Well, who are they hurting? Us. So we have the noki. This is for the hurting. But who's it hurting? Us. We have to put bun. Bun noki. Baniga bulia noki. And then for this one, we're gonna use the donga. So your leg hurts, so I'll drive. Your leg hurts, so I'll drive. So if leg was ili, who is your our? Ja is my. What's your?
One.
Ooh, close. Un is my still. G. G. Think of like unni, Jimmy, immi, boomy. So G and then ili. So you drop the first E. So it becomes jilly. Jilly hurts. Oops. So we have noki. Who is it hurting? You. So we have to add the jin on the front. So jilly, jin, noki. And then we're using donga. I will drive. So you'll notice here, because of the g, and we're not ending the sentence in any other way, it doesn't matter that we switch sentence subjects. So jilly, jinoki donga, I will drive. Automate. And then drive is or one of the other forms. And then I will. So I'm not using going to, it's I will. So I'm using ahis or ahis. Julie jinoki donga arami sadokahis. Yes, exactly. You're still itchy. Still itchy, muchy. For this one, we got dondo and dondon. The first one we'll use dondo. The second one we'll use dondon. So my dog saw a squirrel, and so he chased it. So dog nagidoa.
Iva.
My. What's my for a dog? Ifa. So we have Iva. And then saw squirrel. So we need squirrel. What's the word for squirrel?
Islo.
Islo. Islo. And then I'm adding the N on the end. Haven't explained why. Don't worry about it. It's okay. If Islon and then saw. So to see is hijada. So he did, and then is he the one doing the action afterwards? Yes. So he did. Oh, sorry, it doesn't matter. We're using because. So he did, and then dondo. So he dondo. Chased it. What's the word for to chase?
Asidida.
Asigida. Asigi. And then we put past tense, sorry. So asij and then past unks. Asijunks. Okay, and then last but not least, we're gonna use don for this one. We don't have any eggs, so I need to go to the store. Okay, what's eggs?
Just doggy.
Rostagi. Rostagi. Okay, what's have?
Ojida.
Ojida. Ojida is have. So we don't have, so we have to go O, G, and then we need the we. So O, G, go. Because it's the E from we plus eagle, which means this one drops and it becomes eagle, eagle. So Dustagi, Ojigo, and we're using don. Don. And now it's, I need to go to the store. So we're going the place first, store, Nagidowa.
Niska Jogo.
Niska Jugo. And in the end. And then to go is Ayada. And then I need the Raji. I need. Okay, now without all of my drawings, let's just look at it with the pretty. So I'm gonna say them one more time now that they're written here. My throat hurts, so I'm not going to sing. Janokwa anokiros. Onga yehega hana godos. Yehega hana godos. Number 2. He ate a strawberry and didn't feel good, so he doesn't like strawberries. Gibala homebit. And he's the go hak duangs. Mowekv gibala ya chigodos. Number 3. We dance, so our legs are sore or hurt. Paniga buli bunokidos. Paniga buli bunokidos. Number 4. Your leg hurts, so I will drive. Jili jinoki donga. Adamin sadofgahi. Jili jinoki donga. Adamin sadofgahi. Number 5. My dog saw a squirrel, and so he chased it. Ifa ithon hijidondo assi junks. Ifa ithon hijidondo assi junks. And last, number 6. We don't have any eggs, so I need to go to the store. Drustagi ojigo dondon. Niska drogo ayeda jayachdos. Drustagi ojigo dondon. Niska drogo ayeda jayachdos. What G? And you'll notice, once again, the speakers I'm around, they've dropped the E there. So jayachdos is how I'm used to saying it and hearing it, but jayajidos is correct as well. With that, we hit all of our becauses. I want to go over one that was brought up, which is Omi Jajin. So this also means because, but it's used in only a specific context. It's, think of it as because of blank. Or in English, sometimes it might even be used as thanks to blank. So the thing after it is usually some type of noun, even if it's a noun phrase, but it's usually some type of noun. So if, or it's before it actually, if omi jajin, blank. So because of my dog, or thanks to my dog, blank. So thanks to my dog, I took a walk today. Histoji omijejin. He's going. Oh damn. Because of my baby, or because of the baby. This is just baby. Because of the baby. I did not sleep well. Yep. Exactly. Because of the baby, I did not sleep well. Exactly. So this version of because is used in a very specific context. And it has that meaning of because of or thanks to. But otherwise, these are the main forms of because. So I hope you were able to pick up that, at least hopefully start to be able to catch it when it's being heard. And so then the next Friday, we'll go over however or but and how you do that. And then that one, I think, will be on the shorter side. So we might go into another lesson, but otherwise, I know for sure the next lesson is however or but or even though. So Mado for joining us. Y'all have a good night. It's getting late. Please go to sleep. Have a good night. And we'll see you. I'll see y'all next Friday. In general, next class is on Tuesday. So Mado,
Maro.
Bye.